Please welcome Amii van Dunn.
Down towards the asterisks to flick on.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Amii from Space City. This may not actually have been the best choice of photo retrospectively because we do have people over the age of 50 who work at Space City, but they didn't come and take part in the run, so they're not in this photo. So apologies for that. But we produce a lot of volume, and what I'm going to talk about today really is direct response and how we use that to target. I mean, this day is all about the over 50s, but I would say we're more looking like the white paper at the over 65s in terms of messaging, really. So please bear that in mind with what I'm going to say going forward. So these are some of our clients, and as you can see, some are quite relevant to that market. So Saga, a new client for us this year. We work with British Seniors and Cover Today and Royal London, and as was said earlier, the only ads I can identify with are the over 50s life plans. I mean, we made them all, so sorry to those people. But I'm just going to show you our 90-second show reel because it just gives you a flavour of some of the work we do. And then I'm going to move into more kind of techniques that we practice when we're trying to elicit a response from our viewers. So here we go. So you may not have seen any of those ads if you're at work because most of them play out during the day, but hopefully there are some things there that you recognize. So being closer to the end of the event, quite a lot of the things I was going to cover have already been talked about, but I'll just kind of go through my points. So over 50s are easy to reach on TV because, as we know, as we've talked about, they watch more real-time TV than everybody else. And we see this particularly when we're doing transmission for products which are aimed, like I said, more at over 65s. There are some channels that appeal exclusively to this age group. So yesterday, Talking Pictures Challenge, for example, they're really great places for our clients to advertise. They watch more daytime TV when the airtime is cheaper, so that's really great for our clients because they can get more bang for their buck in terms of response. And they trust TV much more than other forms of advertising, as we saw in the white paper, so things like podcasts and YouTube ads. There's a bit of caution around them, and I think with good reason, because TV is still very credible. We have to go through the clearcast process, which is, can be grueling depending on what product we're advertising. So I think people are right to really feel that TV is trustworthy. And if something is made onto TV, there's a reason behind that. And there is still a threshold. But they're less likely to respond to advertising because they quite often think it's patronizing or irrelevant. And as we've talked a lot today about the age of people in agencies, like you mentioned, the average age is 34. In our agency, it's 36. So it's difficult for us to get our head into that space. However, our founder, Victor, who's now 68, is still very much involved in a lot of the scripting for products where we know his input would be relevant. So when we take a brief, we also have a copywriter who's 23 years old. We say, we work up the ideas as a team collectively, and then we say, right, who do we think is best to focus on this? Because we need to be sensitive to the audience. So again, we've already talked about this a lot, but there is a tendency to view all over 50s as being in a single group. But that's pretty much as ridiculous as saying that everybody under the age of 50 can be categorized in the same group, which obviously they can't because there are babies in there and we can't advertise to them yet. So we mustn't look at it like that. We need to be really mindful of the different segments. So at 50, most people are still employed, and they represent, around a third of the UK workforce. And this group, as we've said, feel very underrepresented in advertising. We've just heard about life expectancy and the fact that, at 70, you could have another 15 years, should have ahead of you, and women 17. So, 70 is not old anymore, and we need to be very respectful of that and mindful of that. So an over 50s funeral plan, when we're scripting and developing an ad for that sector, we're really talking to people who are kind of 80, but definitely above the age of 70, even though it's branded as an over 50s plan. Another thing to bear in mind that 50-year-olds are very active and do twice as much exercise as people in their 70s. So in terms of the creative considerations, this I am definitely guilty of, but most people say they feel and look younger than they really are. So on average, a 60-year-old says they feel 6 years younger, but mentally 18 years younger, which is a huge difference. That's almost a third of the life. And only 2.5% of people said their physical and mental age is the same as their actual age. People generally feel younger if they're physically fit. But what we find in terms of casting briefs is that we need to play it young, and this also may be a reason why there is underrepresentation. But people, I think I'm 30, but I'm not. And everyone in the office kind of humours me and lets me come and join in with their events and things, but they're probably like, oh my God, when's she going to leave? People are very deluded, and so we need to show, younger actors in commercials so that, people can relate to that. So that could be a reason for the underrepresentation. I've just popped in here. So we work for Stilts. They're one of our clients. The average person who buys a home lift or a stair lift is 80, but we're always casting people in their 60s. So certain activities are associated with feeling younger, outdoor, traveling, attending live events and learning new skills. So featuring these kinds of activities in commercials can really resonate with the audience. I'm going to show you one of our best performing commercials at the moment, which is on TV. So this is for a brand called Cover Today. We've just made some new ads for them to be part of this suite. I mean, it's very DR, so it wasn't on your presentation earlier, but it does work very well. And this is Karen. She's like living her best life, and I'll just play it. You can see.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period.
And no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4322 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
So when we ask people, do they want to be amused by commercials, they didn't say they were, but they say they would like to be. But actually, that's not what we found with the clients that we've worked with. Ads which play it straight tend to work better, which is a shame because obviously it's much more fun if you have a brief and you can create something funny and memorable. Using live action with real people almost always works better than animation, and I think it comes back to what we said earlier about relationships. And I think if somebody's delivering advice, as long as they're good enough at acting, it can work much better than using animation. And also, again, duration, which we've spoken about. Using longer length commercials to draw the viewer into a story is particularly effective. So the majority of the work that we do is either 60 or 90 seconds, but most ads on TV are 30 seconds. So that, again, reflects the demographic that we are reaching with our ads. We need to build trust with the viewers, so using models and people who look too perfect is not really a good idea. We want to, people to be believable and relatable. In terms of locations, when we do our recce's, they have to be real, but also maybe slightly aspirational. We don't think being too clever with our ads is the way to get the message across. We want people to understand, what's happening, not in a patronizing sense, but we find that with DR, and this is, like I said, strictly for DR, making sure the message gets across is the most important thing. And clarity, keeping a single message and not overwriting the script. The 30-second script, you can theoretically fit 87 words into it. We try to underwrite it at 70, we give it to the client, it comes back at 200. We then have to strip it back again. So just making sure that it's not wall-to-wall VO, so that people kind of switch off. And if creating a DRTV ad, the call to action is so important. So things like requesting a free brochure or going online for further information are really good because they're not intimidating. They're asking people to respond immediately, but not in a way that's asking them to make a decision on that purchase. So you wouldn't believe how different the response could be just by switching up an end board. Sometimes we have clients coming to us saying, why is our ad not working? And we just make a few changes to the voiceover and the graphics on the end board, and they see their response rates improve, like double sometimes. Use music judiciously. Loud background music can be annoying. If you notice it on an advert, it's probably not great. A good piece of music should kind of, you shouldn't know that there's been music on it. Obviously, if you don't have music on an ad, it sounds very strange. We are seeing the renaissance, which is great, of a jingle or a song. We came up with the Moonpig and the Go Compare jingles, so we are responsible for those atrocities. But we often pitch it, even if the client doesn't go for it with the final ad, just because it's kind of fun for the pitch. So I'm going to end on an ad that we made for Alzheimer's Society. This is for a lottery, so it's not obviously about legacy. This isn't quite so emotional. In fact, it's not emotional at all, but it was fun and it's got a lovely song in it, and that's where I'm going to end. But yeah, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, and thank you for listening.
The Big Win Weekly Lottery. That sounds good.
If you're looking for a chance to win a prize, then take some good advice right now from us four guys. The Big Win Weekly Lottery is here to play, and sums of cash could soon be traveling your way.
The Big Win Weekly Lottery is easy to play. Every entry costs just £1 with over 200 prizes.
It's working really well, so regardless of what you think of the creative, it's very responsive.
Super draw. By playing, you'll be helping Alzheimer's Society to provide care and support for those who need it, as well as supporting our vital research to prevent, treat and cure dementia.
The Big Win Weekly Lottery is here to play, and sums of cash could soon be traveling your way.
We're all winners by playing the Big Win Weekly
I've been trying to get a barbershop quartet into an ad for like 2 years, so I was so happy when they went for that. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone.